I am John Eaton, Chair of the Lorain-Medina Rural Electric Cooperative Board of Directors. We would like to begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As Chair of the Board of Directors, I call the 89th Annual Meeting of Lorain-Medina Rural Electric Cooperative to order. I would like to mention a few things for everyone watching live. Questions can be asked in the Q&A function, but please know that we cannot respond to questions pertaining to individual member service, bills, or accounts. We will, however, follow up the best we can with those after the meeting. Submitted questions will be addressed following the Chair and President and CEO reports as time allows. I will now call on Justice Clifford, Chief Strategy Officer, to deliver tonight's invocation.
Dear Lord, this evening we pause in gratitude for your gifts as we come together for this annual meeting, a time to reflect, to look ahead, and a time to remember the purposes that bind us. Thank you for the many hands and hearts that make this cooperative strong, for the linemen who brave the storms, the staff who keeps things running, the board who represents its members with vision, the management who leads with purpose, and the members who place their trust in this cooperative. We give thanks. Bless our time together today. Help us to always remember that what we do here matters, to families, to farms, to small businesses, and to the future of our rural communities. As we continue the work of keeping the lights on, may we also be people who bring light through service, respect, and a deep commitment to one another. We ask all this with grateful hearts. Amen.
Michelle Seamer, Assistant Secretary to the Board of the Cooperative, will now submit proof of notice of the meeting.
I present the following. First, a copy of the notice of the meeting, the time, place, and purpose of the meeting. Next, an affidavit executed by Jeff McAllister, Managing Editor for the Ohio Electric Cooperatives, showing a copy of the notice of the meeting to each member of the cooperative that is dated June 29th, 2025. In the annual report released in the July Ohio Cooperative Living Magazine pages, you received a copy of the minutes of the 2024 annual meeting of the members to be considered for your approval.
The Secretary is directed to incorporate the copy of the notice of the meeting together with the affidavit of mailing of the notice in the minute book of the cooperative. Our registration totals show 778 members registered. According to the Code of Regulations, the cooperative, the members attending this duly called meeting constitutes a quorum. Consequently, I now declare this annual meeting of the members of Lorain-Medina Rural Electric Cooperative Incorporated lawfully and properly convened and ready to proceed for the transaction of the business. It has become customary to waive the reading of the notice of the meeting and minutes of the last meeting of the members of the cooperative. We will now ask for a motion, second, and vote to waive the reading of the minutes. To participate, please click the question and answer button and type your full name and township to make the motion. Do I have a motion to waive the reading and approve the minutes of the 2024 annual meeting? Please click the question and answer button and type your full name and township to sponsor this motion. I have a motion from Erica Kuntz from Huntington Township. To submit the second, repeat the process and click the Q&A button and type your full name and township. Do I have a second? Carlene Smith of Penfield. I have a second from Carlene Smith of Penfield Township. A poll to vote on the motion will now appear on your screen. Please select yes or no to submit your vote. According to the poll, we have a majority to approve the motion. I would like to introduce your current board of directors, whose pictures were shown at the beginning of this meeting. I am Chair and District 4 Director John Eaton from Huntington Township, serving since 1984. Vice Chair Gary Rowland from Rochester Township, serving District 1 since 1978. Secretary Brenda Wolf of Sullivan Township, serving District 7 since 2015. Treasurer Keith Lowe from Spencer Township in District 8, serving since 1997. Director Brady McCann of Pittsfield Township, serving District 2 since 2024. Director Ken Dietrich of Carlisle Township, serving District 3 since 2022, and whose time on the board concludes with this meeting. Director Judy Pickworth of LaGrange, serving District 5 since 2006. Director Joe Swenko of Litchfield, serving Director 6 since 2018. And Director Rick Dumperth of Chatham Township, serving District 9 since 2022. At this time, I would like to introduce Attorney Heather Niedermeyer-Heyman for the election and voting results. Heather?
Petitions for directors were filed this year by Gary Broderick, District 3, Joe Swinko, District 6, and Rick Dumperth, District 9. The petition process nominates candidates for directors. Any member who wishes to run for director from the district in which they reside files a petition signed by at least 25 members of the cooperative who also reside in that district. A provision in the Code of Regulations eliminated the requirement for a ballot in an uncontested election and deemed any unopposed candidate elected by the membership. Therefore, Gary Broderick, Joe Swinko, and Rick Dumperth have all been deemed elected as our directors from Districts 3, 6, and 9, respectively. All of our elected directors will serve 3-year terms on the Board of Directors.
It is a pleasure to once again welcome you to the 89th annual meeting of Lorain-Medina Rural Electric Cooperative. We're grateful for your continued engagement and for joining us for this year's virtual gathering. I'd like to begin by sharing how excited we were to welcome employees and members to our new headquarters in Spencer. Not only does this new space give our members more access to come into the office with questions or to pay their bill, but has greatly improved our employees' ability to complete their work. Increased warehouse space means that all LMRE equipment is readily available in a central location, and office personnel have appropriate space and necessary equipment to complete work more efficiently. We're also excited to share that LMRE's new community room is now open and available for member rentals. This welcoming space is perfect for family gatherings, community meetings, or organizational events. It comes equipped with tables, chairs, audio-visual technology, and a warming kitchen. The community room serves as an example of how your cooperative extends its primary mission beyond providing electricity to fulfill our principle of commitment to community. Please reach out or visit our website to learn more about booking the space. Another way we serve the community is through the Lorain-Medina Rural Electric People Fund, a program that continues to make a real difference. In 2024 alone, the People Fund awarded more than $53,000 to local organizations and individuals who are improving lives in our region. This success is made possible by your generosity. By simply rounding up your monthly electric bill, you help fund these impactful grants. On behalf of the People Fund and cooperative boards, thank you for contributing to this effort. I'd also like to extend a heartfelt thanks to the 9 dedicated LMRE members who volunteer their time and service on the People Fund board. District 1, Laura Brady. District 2, Becky McDonald. District 3, Patty Feekins. District 4, Tom Seaman Jr. District 5, Rita Canfield. District 6, Patrick Posada. District 7, Christina Jordan. District 8, Tim White. And District 9, Lonnie Montgomery. We are grateful for your service and commitment. I'd also like to share some exciting updates about LMRE's strategic future. The board recently completed a strategic planning process to guide the co-op towards adopting advanced technologies while maintaining the high level of service you expect. New initiatives include a technology plan to enhance service communications and efforts to strengthen our political presence on the national stage. Along with these new priorities, our core values of safety, competitive rates, and reliability still remain the heart of everything we do. Lastly, I'd like to highlight one of the most valuable tools available to electric cooperatives, America Electric Cooperative PAC. This political action committee empowers co-op members to make their voices heard at the state and federal levels, where decisions directly affecting our communities and way of life are made. Thanks to the PAC, we have already seen meaningful wins, such as helping to delay and modify portions of overreaching EPA power plant regulations by ensuring co-ops had a voice in the discussion, advocating for reliable, always available, and at-cost electricity generation, streamlining federal permitting through bipartisan political engagement so co-ops can continue to build and upgrade lines more efficiently without adding years of red tape, and much more. Membership in the PAC costs just $25 annually, or $2.08 per month. These funds go directly towards supporting elected officials who understand and champion the needs of electric cooperatives. The number of people who participate is just as important as the financial contribution. When you get an email for a call to action, please take the time to send a letter to your legislators or sign the form letter presented in the email. We have power in numbers, so please support these efforts. I encourage all LMRE members to consider lending their voices to this important cause, no matter how. If you're interested in learning more, please contact the co-op office. In closing, thank you again for being part of this year's annual meeting. Your active participation in the governance of Lorain-Medina Rural Electric Cooperative is what sets co-ops apart. It is our privilege to serve you, our members, and we look forward to another year of progress, partnership, and community. At this time, we are pleased to present an update from Buckeye Power.
Hi, I'm Craig Grooms, President and CEO of Ohio's Rural Electric Cooperatives, the statewide trade association representing 25 electric cooperatives, as well as Buckeye Power, the provider of electric generation and transmission services to those cooperatives. Collectively, the electric cooperatives we serve supply electricity to nearly 1 million residents in 77 of Ohio's 88 counties, plus several thousand residents in Indiana. This is my first annual meeting video after recently taking on OEC's leadership role with the retirement of Pat O'Loughlin at the beginning of 2025. I look forward to visiting the cooperatives around the state and hopefully meeting many of you in the coming years. On behalf of everyone at OREC and Buckeye Power, I would like to express our gratitude for the close partnership we have with your electric co-op, and we appreciate the opportunity to participate in today's meeting. This event provides an excellent opportunity for you to hear directly from your co-op leaders about the achievements, challenges, and topics that could impact you as a member owner of your co-op. It's also a great opportunity to learn about the many advantages of the cooperative business model you're a part of, and the collective power of our unified network of electric co-ops across the state and country. As I reflect on the achievements of the past year, I believe Ohio's electric cooperatives continue to be well positioned for the future. Our focus on providing affordable and reliable power continues to deliver positive results, and this focus remains our primary objective moving into the future. Buckeye Power is also a member-owned cooperative, and as the power generation provider to Ohio's electric cooperatives, we continue to have very good power plant performance, especially during critical periods when it's unusually hot or cold. Investing in our resources and having a long-term focus on how we generate power continues to pay off and has helped us avoid some of the turbulence and volatility seen across the electric utility industry over the last few years. We continue to work closely with the transmission owners in Ohio to improve reliability and service to your co-op. This collaboration has led to consistent improvements in transmission service, but these upgrades do come at a cost. In addition, we are also seeing significant transmission investments and expansion due to the influx of data centers and new manufacturing plants in Ohio. Because of this, as your statewide association, our legislative affairs team has been very active in the regulatory process to help ensure that only those transmission customers causing the investments are allocated costs, not electric co-op members. Through all this volatility, uncertainty, and higher spending on transmission, the total cost that we pass through to your co-op remains competitive with the investor-owned utilities in Ohio, and I expect that to continue. As we look forward in 2025 and beyond, the big question many have on their minds is, what can we expect from the new presidential administration when it comes to energy policy and other regulations that impact electric co-op members, and to a bigger extent, the electric industry as a whole? Most importantly, the new administration has clearly signaled that they share our concerns regarding the environmental regulations implemented in 2024, and they are actively working to repeal or modify many of those rules, which sought to shut down or restrict the use of coal and natural gas power plants over the next 5 to 10 years. If those rules were to remain in place, it would impact not only the power plants owned and operated by Ohio's electric cooperatives, but also hundreds of other plants across the nation, posing a threat to our affordable and reliable electricity supply. Should the administration succeed, as I anticipate, energy policies and regulations are likely to become much more favorable for Ohio's electric cooperatives, allowing us to continue operating our power generation facilities well into the future. Something we at Ohio's electric cooperatives are very proud of is that we are more than just a generation and transmission provider to the electric co-ops in Ohio. Through our statewide association, we work closely with our co-op partners to develop essential training programs that equip employees with new skills and support the development of our future leaders. Our communications team works with your local co-op to ensure that you are informed about all matters that impact your electric service. And our government relations team builds and maintains strong relationships with state and federal lawmakers to ensure they understand and respect our business model when developing new laws and regulations. We also operate the Central Ohio Line Worker Training Program, also known as COLT. We are incredibly proud of this in-house developed program that has earned national recognition. COLT plays an important role in providing the training and development for both new and experienced line workers. Additionally, the COLT program leaders work closely with co-ops across the state to teach and promote safe work practices that keep our line workers as safe as possible while doing extremely difficult work in challenging conditions. In conclusion, we appreciate your support in our efforts to provide affordable and reliable power to all of Ohio's electric co-ops. While there are challenges ahead, we must also remember that we have several advantages working in our favor. The self-regulated cooperative business model has consistently delivered solid results that benefit our local communities. By staying unified and focused, we can continue to achieve our goals and be successful in our mission. Thanks again for supporting your electric cooperative and participating in today's meeting. Have a great day.
Good evening. My name is Ed Van Hoos, and I am the President and CEO for Lorain-Medina Rural Electric Cooperative. At this time, we would like to recognize our 2025 Children of Members Scholarship winners, whose pictures were shared at the beginning of this meeting. Vanessa Monhemius of Cloverville High School and Kylie Klingshern of Firelands High School earned our $3,000 scholarships. Vanessa was also chosen to represent LMRE at our statewide association and placed fourth in the state, earning an additional $2,900 scholarship. Mallory Gilbert of Northwestern High School and Juliana Hulesh of Black River High School earned our $2,000 scholarships. And next, Lacey Rice from Black River High School and Medina County Career Center earned our $1,000 Touchstone Energy Adversity Scholarship. Last but not least, Nathan Sword from Wellington High School and the Lorain County JVS received the $500 Cooperative Trade Scholarship. Congratulations to this year's winners, and I encourage any upcoming senior living on LMRE lines to consider applying for these scholarships next year. So I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to the board for the continued opportunity to serve in this role. Thank you to all of the employees, the dedicated linemen, and all of the other staff that do everything every day in their power to provide the highest level of service to our members. Thank you to my family and to my wife, Melissa, in particular, for allowing me to have the opportunity to fulfill this career. And thank you to all of you in the membership, because without you, LMRE would just simply not exist. So I'd like to talk to you about just a few items tonight. The first would be energy policy versus reliability versus financing. You heard Craig talk about the current administration and their goals with regards to environmental reliability-related regulations, how they aim to stabilize the existing generation fleet, boost short-term grid resilience, roll back regulations, potentially have a big impact on the availability of generation assets within the energy markets. And in the past, I've talked to you about concerns over that. Now, it may seem that when you have a new administration come in and start to make big sweeping changes that you're going to have some kind of big impact. But there's political turnover that happens every 4 years, and that will create this cyclical uncertainty. When you have that type of uncertainty, it makes investors reluctant to commit capital. It complicates long-term resource adequacy planning and has negative impacts on the financial health for these types of investments. I mean, think about it. If you have a multi-billion-dollar investment necessary to build a power plant, and an election that could happen every 4 years could potentially derail that investment in that power plant, you're going to be skeptical as an investor in how you're going to invest that money. Because after all, those loans run 30 to 50 years with additional maintenance required over time. So while I am appreciative of the current administration's efforts towards reliability, towards regulatory reform, I am also leery of saying that our problems are now over. In fact, nothing could be further from the truth. So how do we deal with that here? We look at our financial health, our cooperative metrics, something called key ratio trend analysis. We've transitioned from short-term financing to long-term financing. We've looked at our cooperative finance methodology, the life of our assets like poles and wires and trucks, this building that we're in. And we look at, with the board, the current membership share of that versus the future membership share. So let's just think about an individual poll. If you were to take that poll, just one, and say we're going to allocate that poll a life over 30 to 50 years, and there's a certain cost with that, to take that whole cost and apply it to just the member today would mean that they are paying for use of it what they may not actually get in the future. So instead, we stretch that cost out over time. This is the same methodology we've employed for financing of the building. The only difference with the building is, because this project was well known, we started that long before the construction. And in fact, the board started planning that long before my tenure here. So by doing that, we're able to minimize the current impact on your bills. This is what I mean when I say rates versus reliability. Because the more money you spend on your system today, the more reliable it is. But the inverse is also true. If you spend less on your system, the less reliable it is. So it's the board's responsibility as elected representatives working with me and my management team to come up with what is the best plan going forward. Now, as a part of that, we're also looking at a new technology plan. This is the next big project for LMRE. We're working toward unified metering technology. We've got an agreement in place that we should go down a path where we have smart metering that's capable of providing better energy efficiency measures than what you've seen today and possibly could even imagine going forward. Things that I haven't even seen will be enabled by doing this. This is a necessity to go down this road because costs have just been going up and up with regards to all of the wholesale power costs and all of the materials that we use every single day to keep the grid stable and reliable for you. So with that, I would like to start taking some questions. I know we've got a few that have already been sent in, but please continue to do that. I'm going to invite John to join me back up here again, and we've got a couple right there that we'll start with. Remember, we can't answer specific questions about specific incidents or with your bill, but if you want someone to respond to you about that, just send that in anyway, and we'll have someone get hold of you within the next couple of days. So even if you do ask one of those questions, we won't answer it right here because we won't go into specific billing issues, but we will have someone get hold of you. So it's okay if you want to ask that. Just know that it'll be answered later. So with that, let's start going with this. So we have Tom and Brenda from Harrisville, the Chatham area, who want to know about those blinks that are occurring that we see quite frequently sometimes. So when we think about this, John, we are connected to a transmission system. And LMRE doesn't actually own the transmission system. Neither does Buckeye Power that you heard from earlier. Buckeye Power owns the generation, so the plants that produce the electricity, but they have to send it across high voltage transmission lines to our distribution system. This means we're kind of at the mercy of the transmission companies when it comes to those sort of transmission blinks and issues that they have. Now, I will say we have a really good relationship with those companies, and they are working diligently on their plans to upgrade these things. And I know specifically they're working in this area, so we know that there's some things that they're working to improve that type of service. But when it happens, the reason you're seeing a blink is because that's us saying there's a transmission outage, but rather than taking you offline completely, we are backfeeding you from another substation. So instead of having an unknown amount of outage time, you can now have your service right back on instantaneously. And so we can do that with the technology we have. As we move more in time toward better technology, that just gets better and better, more automated and faster. This is something the board has been working on in our budgetary process too. I don't know if you want to comment on that a little bit, John.
Yes, we've authorized Ed to go ahead and improve the technology. We have a great system built already that we can backfeed but there's always room for improvement on it. So,
Great. So James also asked, how will recently passed bill in Congress, I'm assuming you mean that I can't do a Trump impression, but if I could, a big, beautiful bill, will affect rates. So right now, that's still a big unknown. We do know that tariffs are impacting the costs of our materials, so we are seeing some of that. Who knows what that looks like long term, and whether that's a good strategy or not, you can debate politically. And everybody will have a different opinion on that. If it stimulates the economy, maybe we do see some rate relief, maybe not. I think my biggest concern about rates is actually the conversation I talked about earlier, rates versus reliability. So if we see a turnaround in generation assets, that should start to drive the cost of wholesale power down, because more availability means less cost. This would be good for everyone. And note, I'm saying generation assets, I'm not saying the type of generation asset, because we are agnostic with that. We're a distribution co-op. That's what we focus on. The generation and transmission comes elsewhere, and we purchase that into us. But what I want to see is more availability, because if there's more, it'll cost less. And wholesale power is the biggest cost driver of everything that we do, even though we don't control it here locally. Rick asked, how many years ago was the co-op set up of solar panels, and are there any plans to enlarge those to have any improved profitable, or how close is it to being profitable? So we don't operate on a for-profit basis on anything. We're not for profit across the board, including the solar facilities that we have a share in. Now those facilities are not owned by LMRE. All of our generation assets, including those, are owned for Buckeye. But what we do is we house one in our old Wellington headquarters, and there is a new one that did get released that they built that is a co-located larger one in one of the other co-ops territories just to the west of us. So there are panels available for that. You should call in, and you could potentially get signed up for that if you're interested. You want to take the next one from Morgan?
Ask if any plans to promote solar and or wind among the members. Discount groups pricing. We do not promote any of them. We are all forms of energy. We aren't against them, but we cannot go out and promote anything, just like we can't promote selling generators, because that's not our business.
Right. So we're a distribution cooperative. Again, we don't deal with generation. What I will say that we do for you, though, is if you have a question about it, if you have someone telling you something about buying one of those, we have a free service here with our energy advisors that can help you understand what they're showing you and kind of dig through it to make sure what you're given is the truth. What I have seen and what I have warned about in the past is there are some of these vendors that are very reputable and doing a good job. There are many others that are not, and we have seen them taking advantage of people. So what I would say is take advantage of the free service offered to you by your not-for-profit co-op that you're a member of, and we can help you through that process when you're given these quotes. Robert asked, can the co-op handle growth of new technology like hubs of blockchain, cloud, and AI? So for those that don't know, blockchain could be something like Bitcoin. Think of it that way. So it's more of a virtual currency. That's one application. There's many others. This requires huge amounts of power on the data center side. So does cloud computing, and AI is the biggest driver by far right now for new data centers. Ohio is seeing a ton of interest in this. Now the co-op itself as a distribution cooperative can handle this. We would build to suit for those types of loads that come in. The problem, though, is the exact same one I've talked about in the past, and that is availability of generation. Is there enough generation on the grid right now in all of PJM, all of those different states, to support this? I could tell you no, there is not. In fact, sometimes we meet our peak right now of what's available. So that means there's work to be done there. What I'm seeing out there is some co-location of generation with these new data centers coming in, but there's a lot of work to be done. We're excited about it here. Why wouldn't we be? It's new load growth for us. But I'm also kind of nervous about the fact that on the grid right now, generation resources are lacking. We talk about this in the board frequently. Some of it's out of our control, but we will work with anybody coming in that wants to bring new load into our territory. You got some more questions for us? We can take a couple more. All right. So Lisa asked, is Pittsfield getting underground lines? So where we have overhead right now, we always take a look at that operationally and see, is there a good reason to move underground? When we're going into new subdivisions, we will take a look at that, and a lot of the developers just prefer to be underground, and so they'll pay that differential there. So this is not like all of Pittsfield will get it, but it's kind of a case-by-case basis on our operations side. When will removal of submeters begin? Already started. We're already doing that. I will say they will be reaching out to you if you've got one. Also, if you've got one and you want to schedule it to get out, call us. We'd like to get you on the list quicker. There's quite a few of those already done, and we'd like to get as many of those out as possible because we're going to do this meter transition, and that's the first phase of it. What are the plans for the old building? We're working through that. Right now, we've got to get our fiber connectivity that has our substations connected, move from there to here. That's going to take through the end of this year. We're getting appraisal on the whole property. The board's got some decisions to make there. Maybe it gets sold, maybe not. I will say it's not in very good shape. There's a reason we needed to exit from it. So I think the land has some value. I think a couple of the outbuildings have some value. The headquarters itself, probably not so much. So it's pretty rough. So we'll see. Let's see. Why don't we take one more? And any others that don't get answered, we will send you an answer for sure. So let's see. Vincent asked, is nuclear being considered? Every day. In fact, from my perspective, being in this type of career, that is really the hope for the future. Especially what we have constantly been talking about is that SMRs, small modular reactors. These are smaller nuclear plants that can be stationed in lots of different places. So I think that right there is probably the wave of the future and would really solve that data center issue I talked about earlier, because you could place those at the data center itself, thereby relieving its pressure on the grid. So if we could build those in conjunction with the data centers, you would see a lot more stability out there, and something I'd really like to see happen. I will take one more. It's the last one here. Do you want to give an answer there from Arnold?
Is the co-op having issues getting new linemen? Right now, we're good. We have a lot of young linemen came on, great people. Hopefully they stay. But there is a shortage out there. Any young people that are interested in that kind of work, it's a great opportunity for you.
Yep, and we will have 2 openings come January, so that these are known ones. So if you know someone looking, especially if they're experienced and they're in our community and want to work for the local co-op, pass the word along. We'd love to see them submit a resume. Those should come out sometime toward the end of the year as a posting, and then we'll be taking applications. All right, well, thank you all so much. If we didn't get to your question, I apologize, but we will definitely be getting back with you. And if you ask something about your bill directly, we'll definitely get back with you there. Thank you, and I'll see you around.
This time, do we have any unfinished business to come before the membership? Do we have any new business to come before the membership? Seeing none, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you for attending this year's annual meeting. Stay healthy and safe, and we hope to see you soon.